One take. Wake, bake, and correct Seti's mistakes. This dude did a second video saying the meta netter wasn't deciphered. And I figured since I'm running to a bunch of the people that listen to this dude, I might as well do the community a favor and just go through some of his bullshit and correct it. And that's it. You know, it's nothing personal. I think when it comes to Sara Suten Seti, his zoo types video is the best as far as getting people interested. You know, watch his zoo types, and you gotta know your zoo types. But this shit about the meta netter, this is just clownish. Like, he's not even trying. So, and the reason why I'm doing this video instead of their main thing, that presentation that they did when they ran from the debate, which is some bullshit anyway. They ran from the debate and then did a lecture in the living room. That's how you know scrutiny is not their friend. So I'm going to deliver scrutiny unto Seti in this form, because the Amin Ra Squad, they're probably going to do a refutation on the living room lecture. So I figured I'll do one on his double down, double clown, really. So, and I haven't even watched this, but I know what it's going to be because I've heard people parrot it and they'll say stupid shit like the ancient Egyptian language was secret. You know, and I'll look at them, you know, I'm like, I know they got it from Seti. And, you know, so I tell them, I'm like, okay, so only the people that knew the secret could speak the language. Everybody else was just throwing up gang signs and grunting. Because what else is there? It was secret.
I know. I'm gonna try to switch the the spirit up tonight. You know what I'm saying? Avalanches is rolling down the mountain. You know, and I hate to laugh, but I'm laughing.
You should laugh at yourself. You ran from that debate.
But anyway,
now I have to fast forward this.
somewhat heartbroken, you know, about what's going on out here. And I just have to tell Mom.
Blah, 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 blah. The longer he takes before he gets to the meta netter, the better for him. Believe that. Let me just pause it and say this. I'm in one of my next 3 videos, I'm going to talk about the 5 codes to Black Power. But for now, this dude is off code when it comes to African history. So I'm trying to get to that point, and the longer he delays, the better for him.
We let him happen, and we cry out, you know, from all of the pain that we suffer from not taking care of business. So I don't owe nobody shit. If I had to rewind the tape, I'll bring motherfuckers to Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, John G. Jackson, you know, when they were sitting at the table, and Dr. Clark just scolded motherfuckers. Like, You motherfuckers keep asking for a plan. We've been giving you a plan for 50 years. Did you hear what he said? He said it's like we wasted our precious life. This is what Dr. Clark said damn near 15 years ago, 20 years ago. You feel me? Because Dr. Clark died in 1999, if I'm not mistaken. Okay? And so, if Dr. Clark was scolding, see, that's why I don't give no motherfucking fuck you motherfuckers. Because the elders didn't know. If you hear a motherfucker in the Black Power community ask you what the plan is, you need to slap the taste clean out of their motherfucking mouth.
Why? Why not give them a plan? Matter of fact, that is what I will be doing in a couple videos. It's something I've done years of research on. Well, not years, about 1 year, but I'm not done with it. And it's just going to be 4 or 5 codes for Black Power, stuff we can get on point with as a populace, and how those directives, those values, ideals can make us more powerful. I don't want equality. I want power. And I realize it's going to take a long time. And my generation and Seti's generation, because he's a little older than me, but our generation, me and Seti, basically the brothers that in their, I'd say, 30s, 40s, 50s, and older than that, but especially them, we ain't gonna live to see it, but we can live to see the direction going strong, because we're that far in the hole. But it's nothing we can't get out of. So it's nothing wrong with people asking for the plan, especially all the talking you do. You got all these videos, no plan. So you gonna slap somebody over that? No, I'm not gonna slap them. I'm like, hey, okay, I got the plan. And I'll be doing a video about that. I'm gonna do one about the Amun-Ra Squad's sources, because I kind of joke that young Pharaoh's sources are like Chief Keef's Audi. It's all white. The Amun-Ra Squad, that debate that Seti ran from, their sources were all black.
You don't have no reason to be in this culture if you're not that far alone. You need to step the fuck back. Straight up. Because now we're fighting for the survival of the race. Okay? Not only are we fighting for we're fighting for our own individual lives. I'm not no intellectual motherfucker to the point where I'm gonna keep sitting up here reading references. Motherfucker can stack references to the sky.
No, you can't. You cannot talk. You can't stack references to the sky. You just can't. And the reason why you can't is because we're dealing with, in this case, his main source. He doesn't give it. He'll reference sometimes. He'll reference, at least from what I've heard. I didn't even watch his whole presentation, but he's talking about the era before and during the fall of Egypt, right before and during, when they were invaded by a bunch of people. That's usually where he says, okay, that's, and he also talks about the, I think it's the 19th century. Yeah, the 19th century, during the time of Napoleon and Champollion. And if you have sources, you got to show them, because you're supposed, for what you're claiming, that there's this grand conspiracy to create a fake language or just get everybody in on this conspiracy, like people, like 10 people on the in the conscious community, like 5 people in the Amun-Ra Squad, a couple people on Team Osiris, maybe 3 people, Brother Reggie, Shaka Amos to some extent, Brother Polite. Lots of people can read the Metanetta at least somewhat when they got the signs and the key. And then you look at the brothers on the continent from Chinkan to Diop to Odwirifo. You know, I'm trying to go to the ancestors to Odwirifos, who's kind of young. They, you know, from Wolof to the Akan, we verified that it's been deciphered, and we've tightened up the decipherment. So sources are very important because you're going up against all of that consensus. You're going up against a consensus that's multi-ethnic, that's lasted for 100 years. So this notion that you could say that you can, in theory, you could have, in theory, went to the debate, but you didn't. You could, in theory, if you say so, stack sources up to the sky, but you're not doing it. And if you're not, what are you saying? Because you're going up against the grain. You're the one that has to prove something. And you know what? Fuck the sources. You could prove it your damn self. If ancient Egyptian writing doesn't work, all you got to do is take the same methods that they say they're using. You don't even have to learn it entirely. Just learn it enough. Go look at some primary sources, use those methods, and you should get gibberish. You shouldn't get anything that makes sense. If you're looking at carvings on the wall using Champollion's, you know, whoever deciphered it, because it wasn't just Champollion, but if you're using the method, the same method that Dr. Ben used when he read it, the same method that thousands of people have used for over 100 years. And if you do that and it doesn't work, you proved it. So fuck all these, you need all these sources. You know, okay, cut to the chase and prove it. But you know what? You're not going to do that. I can tell you're not going to do that.
You motherfuckers can fake like you speaking the Medunetta. Huh? I'm going to get on you motherfuckers. Because I got you niggas. Ain't no running from me. I'll body you motherfuckers. Don't come with that garbage trying to mislead the people.
Whoa, You're talking about other people running? The debate was over here. You were over there. You ran from the debate. Sucker can't run from the debate and then talk about other people.
You know, a lot of people, listen to me. A lot of people looked at Seti like I'm disrespecting the elders' work.
That's because you were. And I can show you when I go through the Amun-Ra squad sources, which I might tank on some of that to the end of this video just to show you. Of course you were disrespecting not just their work, you're disrespecting everyone's work. You didn't go through any of the Amun-Ra squad's books. You didn't go through anything that was put up on Rap God and say this doesn't make sense. You didn't go through that. You didn't test Rap God. Asara has like 5 books, 6 books on the subject. You didn't fuck with that. You aren't testing anybody. It's just blah blah blah. And I'm waiting for him to get to his blah blah blah. And that's what I mean. This is just easy. This is easy because he just said he has no sources. He said he has like a stack of sources he could have showed, but just like he could have went to the debate, he didn't go to the debate. I can show the sources. You know, I can show plenty of sources. The next video will be about the Amun-Ra squad sources.
I was never disrespecting the elders' work. I was completing the elders' work. You see? Because many of these so-called elders, teachers of the Metal Netter, they know that shit can't be spoken. Now you got niggas
people you ran from the debate with know that it can't be spoken correctly. We agree that you can only decipher it to a certain extent, and you can use Coptic as a reference. That wasn't the debate that you ran from. You said it wasn't deciphered and couldn't contextualize to what extent it was. So it's like, was it not deciphered completely? I think you said something like 40%. Well, if it's 40%, demonstrate. Because people agree, like, the pronunciations are like 40%. A lot, you know, but that, you had the chance. They asked you, what is this debate about? And you played possum. And then you ran. Because I remember specifically, they asked you, or what are we debating? When on Sonetta, they asked you, let me This is getting funny because they asked him because they didn't want to go in there and then you make a bunch of points about how you can't speak it right. Like you win in debate points that then nobody they wouldn't even argue with that. Okay, you the one that said look on the flyer. You said look on the flyer. The flyer said deciphered. You could have backed out then because you knew you was wrong, and that's why you didn't show up. I'm just calling it like it is.
But talking about, well, Dr. Ben said it couldn't be spoken. Why can it not be spoken? There's no vowels. That don't mean that the consonants are correct.
It doesn't even mean that the vowel sounds are incorrect, the ones that you have. It's just like if you use a transliteration of Medunetter, you got the ooh sound. You got some vowel sounds all through the transliterations. And to test whether or not they're correct or at least close, you can look at indigenous African languages from Coptic all the way to South Africa, Amazulu. You can go all the way to West Africa with the Khan. I think it's called Twi, their language. Or like Wolof, like I was talking about earlier. Inner Africa, pretty much any African language has some basic old words or cognate similar, part of the same language family. So it's not something that these dudes could have created. It'd have been a lot easier for them to just decipher it. If you already got the Canopus stone, the Rosetta Stone, you already got Coptic, it's easier to decipher it than to create this crazy ass conspiracy that you admit sort of works, because you ain't saying everything is wrong. And it's been verified to the point where the general decipherment is strong. That's in the 90s. That's like 90%. The pronunciation is like half and half, but because you got other African languages and you can use deductive reasoning and triangulation, you can get better translations. That's one of the reasons why Riketi Yamin is recreating the ancient Egyptian language. And I can tell you how they're doing it. It's not really that complex. If you get all the family, you gonna know what the one missing person looked like. It's using methods like that because you'd be able to do a recreation of the person's face, and it's easier to do a language in effect.
It only can be written. So every motherfucker out here that been talking, they know that they was out of the rules of the methodology, first and foremost. Okay,
transliteration. That means it's deciphered. If you got to the translation part, you deciphered it.
Oh, because you motherfuckers been speaking it. See?
Who is talking it? They say a few words like Hotep, some shit that's been around, like Ra, shit that's been around through Greeks and through English and all that, because they're words that have just survived. Like even they say jive used to be an ancient Egyptian word. I don't know. It's words that have just survived throughout African languages and throughout some Germanic languages.
Get into a little of my lecture. Not much, but on
stuff that's been borrowed, stuff that survived.
Let motherfuckers know that, and that's a fact. That is a transliteration, which means it can only be
rearrangement.
But yet and still, the majority of these bitch-ass niggas been out here talking it for the last 30, 40 years. Huh? And then they add vowels at their own discretion and make up words to sound like other words to give justification for it. Okay? I
gotta let this brother play. This is gonna be kind of long.
To reality. See, when you start to add shit and
who is saying it? You can speak a transliteration. That means it's deciphered. That means it's deciphered.
Chairs on the motherfucking ship. They not trying to let y'all know that this is some bullshit. If it can only be written, bitch, that's all I need to see you do is write it. But the question is, because we are African people, if you can't pronounce it, you You already know what the next question is. How the fuck can you define
That's
it?
a stupid question, Seti. Shit, Seti. If a transliteration gives you like an MW for cat, you can kind of think, man, maybe that's like an onomatopoeia, like like a Pokemon. How Charizard says Charizard, Charizard, and the cat says Mew. But it's a cat. Maybe it's meow, maybe it's Mew, maybe it's Mawa, but it's a cat. You don't have to pronounce something to define something. You know, if somebody hits me in the mouth, I might say, I'm gonna get that. I'm trying to say motherfucker or something. I can't pronounce what he is, but I know what he is, and I know I'm trying to get him. It's as simple as that. This is some bad logic. This don't make no kind of sense.
The Creator gave us a mouth. We're not walking around with, like it's just flesh right there. It's a mouth right here. You have to pronounce it.
So are you an African or an Afrikaans? Because there's a way you can deal with that lack.
So right there is telling you something.
So you're going to bitch about it. Learn some neighboring languages.
It's lacking substance. In all shapes and forms. It's lacking substance. You can't speak it, family. And that in itself is a dagger.
It's a boomerang dagger. If you know what it is, if you know it's a cat, it's deciphered.
It is no way.
If you know it's a donkey, it's deciphered.
But let me tell y'all something. Number one, we have to stick to the premise. You understand that it's a secret language.
Ooh, Seti, now you going stupid. You going full. Oh, how you gonna have a secret language? That means it's a secret to know how to speak.
And that only the initiates of the Egyptian, now let me just say Egyptian, because it's not just the Egyptian educational
your
system.
Mama teach you how to speak. Your daddy teach you how to speak. Okay? That's who teach you how to speak. Now, if you want to write the language in different times of history, when it was dying out, then it was, kind of secret priesthood maybe. But the temples have always been schools, and it's been mainstream. It's been so mainstream because you're not talking about the language. You're talking about writing. But you're confusing people because you said language. And that don't make no sense. And really, writing don't make no sense either, because metanet is everywhere in Egypt. It's on border signs. So you can't have a secret language if it's welcome to Kemet on a border sign. And to get seriously. And if you saying it's deciphered, if it's transliterated, we know it's a border sign because we know what it says. And you got writing all over the walls, like graffiti, all over the temples. It's all over the place. And at times, for the most part, I'd agree. Most of the culture was illiterate, because back in those days, you was farming to survive. The population wasn't in the city. It was basically country folk, tribal folk, Nile folk, all that. But there are examples of letters. Like, there's letters that go to foreign leaders. There's letters that go to, like, I think they found some love letters. So writing for most of ancient Egypt's history was not some secret shit in the priesthood. That's when the Greeks and the Persians and the Assyrians, it probably started with the Assyrians when it started getting tricked. When it started to roll into a realm of somewhat tricknology. But even then, it wasn't that trick, because demotic, the Greeks called demotic, it's Greek for popular. So it's like, if it's popular, that means it's still in the swing. And demotic is just a more signature version of hieratic. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I mean. This is why I'm doing this, because this is just no research at all, poor understanding. This is not his field. He ain't even trying. And show me one source about this 40 years. You say you got sources sky high. Show me one source on the 40 years. One. Just one. And I guarantee, because it completely goes against everything you would know about ancient Egypt even if you just read the translations. You don't even have to go deep into the linguistics like the people who you ran from in the debate. If you just read the translations, you would realize your sources, first of all, are assuming the same thing that is translated. Unless your sources are Greek. You know what I mean? If your sources are Egyptian, then you're reading a transliteration. And if you're reading that translation, then you see what I mean? Like, the only way this makes any sense is if his sources are Greek. And if his sources are Greek, then they ain't seeing what's going on in Egypt throughout history. They seeing what's going on in Egypt through its death throes. So it doesn't, like, damn, I'm only 11 minutes into this.
Okay? And only an initiate would receive the information to what the symbols meant. And the initiate took an oath and was forbidden never to release the information. Every student has to go through 40 years and nobody can give information. You have to, just like Dr. Ben said, I can only give it to you as it was given to me. Okay? And if you ain't at a certain degree, you're not going to get that information. So y'all don't understand that people sometimes use a construct to teach through the construct. You're not endorsing the construct per se. You're using the construct to teach through. Okay? So that's the silliness of you niggas. Just like right now, we're not Englishmen, but we speak English. So what are we doing? We're using English as a vehicle to teach our people African history, even though English did not exist at the fucking time. As a people, as a language, it did not exist.
I just want to pause it right here and say, he's talking about how we can use English to teach African history when I was just off the phone because I called in Seshumani Metanetta and I was asking some questions about flashcards because I wanted to use flashcards to learn Metanetta that are closer to pronunciations, that use comparative methods with other languages to recreate better translations. Because I agree, in the sense, a transliteration is only going to give you so much. Now, you can look at the transliteration, look at Coptic, and say, okay, we're on the right track. And Coptic's been tested. You can say what you want to say about Coptic, but it's been tested. It's been tested by the Kalenjin. It's been tested by Mboli. When Africans have seen their language, I've looked at their language next to Coptic. You wouldn't get that if it was a language that was brought to the land. It was there. It came from a common source. It might have some shit added to it. Like I've seen enough examples of it compared to Kalenjin. And Kalenjin's in Kenya. They mostly in Kenya. Some of them are in Central Africa. I've seen Coptic compared to Wolof. So they aren't that bad, but they're bad enough to where if you can do it better, you do it better, and we can do it better.
It's just a vehicle to teach through, okay? So if you hear me say some medunata, as we say, as what we call the Egyptian hieroglyphic language.
That's not the name of the language. That's the name of the writing script. The language, like I said, we ain't speaking the language. We can take its brethren, its sisters, and its children, as parents, and we can recreate it. If we don't individually have the expertise, we can give them some money.
Just because you hear me say a word, you never seen me say no sentences. These niggas actually speaking sentences, but it can't be spoken. See, it can't be spoken. Even when you call it out, letter for letter. Okay? Say, for instance, you say KMT. What do you think you speaking? Nigga, you speaking English. The pronunciation of the fucking letters itself, they're Latin letters, but you're speaking English.
The purpose of these letters is to make sounds, not to say the name of the letters. So in this case, it would be kmt, kmt. You don't have vowels except for what you could imply by looking at the way Kemet is pronounced in other languages. And people have done that. And you can look at how it's pronounced. I should pull it up. Hold on, let me read it. Because this is a good example. I'm kind of glad that Seti made a point that wasn't completely dumb, that I actually have to demonstrate from a source to really... Because that's really, that's the only way people are going to grow. So let me bring a source here. Okay, this is from Sara work where he looks at the definition of Kemet. KMT, if we want to go to that. So he has a table demonstration of variations of Kim, not even Kemet, just Kim in other African languages. So yeah, it's Kom is a country or region in Balu. Ikoma, city in Okam. Kom is a rural area. Another pronunciation is Komwa, country, region. Kumbi, nation. That's how the Zulu call it. Guma, Gumo, Gumi, Gumba, city, rural area, village, country, nation for those pronunciations. Kam by the Bassa, and they trace their lineage there as farm. The Doi, Kam is farm. I never heard of this language. Like most of them, I don't know what tribes speak it, but Esakatako, I might want to look at these languages. That's a good thing about Wikipedia, is if you just want something simple, I could look up who speaks all these languages. So you can look at, I think he even gives some more examples. Oh, for black. And that's what I mean. It's similar culture. It's everywhere. I could do a video just Kemet all over Africa. I might do that this year sometime. It's backed up, but I do have some pictures and examples of how you see Kemet all over Africa, the culture everywhere. You see it outside of Africa too, because animism anywhere is animism everywhere. But with Africa, you see like it down to people walking around naked with sticks, hunting animals. You know what I mean? Like, usually I don't see people doing that both at the same time, but you got general butt naked over in West Africa, and then in Southern Africa, you got people hunting with them hunting sticks. You see the same thing on the walls in Egypt. You see the same priest uniforms, with the skin, with the leopard skin. You see those same fly whisk all throughout.
That's what you're speaking. Okay? So when I'm gonna pull it up on the screen. I'm just trying to show y'all. Nah, it don't have to be Kemet. It don't have to be Kemet. because it's according to the rules of construct, it's supposed to stay KMT. And when I pronounce it, you're not even supposed to pronounce it. You're just supposed to write it. Okay? Because Latin did not exist as a language at the times of ancient Egypt. English come into existence in the medieval period. Okay? Now, you cannot use a language that come into existence thousands of years after the closing of the temples of Egypt by Justinian and Theodosius.
It just produced a transliteration, but it produced a transliteration of an African word. That ain't something they could fake. And again, we're not even talking about the decipherment. So if somebody learns the transliterations, which like I just demonstrated, I can demonstrate with other, I can do it by myself. Like I could take a few words and just look at different African languages. If someone wants to do that and then string together a sentence, that's what you're spending your time talking about? Like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I'd rather be studying the language, but just because I care about the general level of, or general lack, because I'm trying to be positive, the abundance of genius, I should say, I want to leave this out there with y'all. I don't know how much further I'm going to go through with this, because this is just ridiculous. I'd rather do the source video, because man, there's people all over the internet that look at transliterations and say, man, there's a lot of this in my language. And you see it with Igbo, you see it with Yoruba, you see it with the Somali language. Let me see, who else? Khan do it a lot. There's people online with that. And most of the time it's easy to reference this because you got Egyptian dictionaries and you got Google Translate. So, and the same with Coptic. It's an alphabetical script. It's alphabetical writing. You can use it to pronounce a lot of stuff. Now, just like any other African language, if we had the pronunciations down tighter, you'd have a whole bunch of tildes, fildes, and all them little pronunciation and signatures and shit. You'd have that stuff, and like especially like you look up some of them Yoruba words, you see all kinds of little nit-gnabs on them. I don't know hardly any of them. Like, I'm just now getting into linguistics. Linguistics is fun. It's also funny. It's like funny style, but it's fun. But yeah, if we had the right translations, of course. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is primary research. You're not even arguing that it's not deciphered anymore. You just back and forth. It's like, I'm wondering what happened. Did you have a stroke or something? Because there's like the rapid deterioration and it don't make sense,
Okay, Byzantine kings who around 400 AD, late 390s AD, closes the Egyptian mystery system, along with the other mystery systems, including Greece and, those mystery systems throughout Asia under their control. They closed those mystery schools, which shows that the rest of the mystery schools were subordinate lodges of the Egyptian mystery system. Okay? Now, so what am I saying here?
That's a good
What
question.
am I saying
What
here?
are you saying here?
I got a cold, y'all.
What are you saying?
Straight up. I got a fucking cold. But I'm gonna break this shit down for y'all. Okay? so that y'all understand this shit. You see, none of these languages that they're using
Fucking with the
today
ancestors, man.
existed at the time, even of the closing
Let them put one of
of
those
the temples
mojos
of
on
Egypt around 400 AD. Okay, so that's just like I asked the question: did Jesus wear Jordans? Okay, did Jesus wear Jordans? That's a hypothetical Jesus I'm dealing with. And you know goddamn well, Jesus didn't wear no Jordans because Jordans didn't exist.
I don't know
at
where
the
he's
time
going.
of
He
Jesus.
lost me. He
And so
lost me.
I'm gonna ask you
sorry,
the question: could ancient
I'm
Egyptians look at the metal letter of today,
okay,
read it, and understand it? The answer is no. Why is
what do you
that?
think?
Because none of the languages that went.
Of course they could. Of course they could. Why couldn't they? They wrote it.
None of them. And you have to understand.
What are you talking about? None of the language. They don't have to read. They could just read it on the wall. They don't have to read transliterations and yeah, I bet some of the transliterations they'd understand if they understood English
and then I'm
or whatever language it was. I bet if you took like the closest, let's say Coptic, if you transliterated into Coptic, I don't know, that don't even make sense because you would try to give it to them the best you could, but you don't need to because it's their language. They wrote it. Well, chances are, and I would argue that most of the area was illiterate, so chances are they wouldn't be able to read it because they were spending their time in the countryside milking cow, and it was popular in the sense that professionals got down, people who had it, but country folk probably weren't literate, man. Country folk weren't really known to be heavily literate in those times, and that was true all the way until very recent, until like the last 100 years. Now literacy is abundant, but before, back in them days, man, chances are he wouldn't be able to read. But if he was one of the people that could read, then he'd be able to read it. It's his writing. Now, you're saying, would he be able to read an English version of it? Kind of dumb question. Like if we took the transliterations and then gave it to him back in his language, that don't make any sense. Like that's like one of them Jedi mind tricks that, like, if you were to make it into, like Knights of the Old Republic when it's a game and you got to roll the dice, if you roll like 0, you Jedi mind trick yourself. And look at his, he looked like he Jedi mind tricked himself. I mean, that's just sad. This. Oh boy! Whoa!
So you have to understand that we have two diametric opposite spirits. Okay, we never mean the same thing, and we living. Okay, we living. Okay, and so in order for the white man,
he got a point there. He finally said something I agree with.
What we talking about?
To a point, I mean.
Crackers, his children, to live amongst us. And, they mimic, but they can never create on the level at all of how we create the music.
That's not the decipherment. And I agree with him. That's why we need to be looking at this shit, not telling people that it's not deciphered. Because if we got Damn that girl fly, if we got that, it's deciphered, and it's just a matter of us figuring out what fly meant. I agree.
Where he can mimic a motherfucker to the point where the people will sit down and listen to him. Motherfucker damn near got to spend 20, 30 years to do that. Okay, look how long it took the cracker Eminem to come along. And he's weak as fuck. Weak as fuck. Garbage. Nothing but garbage. I ain't seen one white motherfucker ever in no form of music or nothing that could fuck with a black man or a black woman in shit. Okay? So we first and foremost, We are diametric opposite.
We ain't diametrically
We're
opposite.
diametric
I don't
opposite.
agree with that.
What does that mean?
The
We are two
motherfuckers don't have
opposite
pink eyes.
streams of humanity. Okay? Black people have the highest level content of
It's more
melanin, and
nuanced than
crackers
that.
have the lowest. We two extremes on the planet, and which means we are the most unalike. We are the most unalike of any people on the planet. Okay? And
Is
so
this thing on?
that alone will show motherfuckers, hands down, that no white man can go to no wall and use no
I think Eminem's all right.
no
Oh, I have. I can say Brother Ali can out rap a lot of niggas. I mean,
but there's no way that a white
and what
didn't
difference
even
does that
have the
make? But
help
let's be real.
of
Brother
African
Ali,
people. These crackers is making
Sway, what's
translation
I don't forget his name. I
in
forget.
Europe. Totally
There ain't
without
a lot of
the
good
album.
white rappers. I'll give them
Come
that.
on
Ain't a
now.
lot of good white rappers.
Come on, let's y'all niggas is slaves.
How you gonna have a secret
Y'all niggas
language?
is slaves.
That does not make any sense at all. A secret language on a wall does not make any sense at all. Crazy. They had an African language. Really, Coptic is born and raised in Africa. I'm going to leave an example of how it was done. But here's the thing. He could prove it. He could take the same methods they produce and test it and prove it. This is a binary argument, 1 or a 0. Why is he in America if you really believe this was faked? I'll talk about that later. I'll just give an example of how it was done. It was just deductive reasoning. If you have 2 patterns, well, 3 patterns, and you don't know 2, but you know 1, and then you have a few keys because you have names, it's just deductive reasoning, and it's binary provable false. Either or. It's been 20 minutes. I can knock this to a golden 42 and call it a day. One more tub. Blow it in the mic. Yeah, it's gone on a bit too long. What was I gonna say? I'll take one more tug and get ready for the weekend. I'm gonna have to pick this up next Saturday. This has been fun though. It's been easy, and the reason why it's been easy is because it's born from that whole evolution feud with Akacat.
Elongated oval or cartouche always contained a royal name. There was only one cartouche represented 6 times with slight modifications in the hieroglyphic section of the Rosetta Stone. And this was assumed to contain the name of Ptolemy because it was certain from the Greek section that the inscription concerned a Ptolemy. It was also assumed that if the cartouche did contain the name Ptolemy, then the hieroglyphic characters in it would represent the sounds of the Greek letters, and that all together they would represent the Greek form of the name Ptolemy. It say the obelisk and base block which W.J. Banks had brought back from Philae to his home in Kingston, Lancey. He stole it. We call it stealing African artifacts, right? In Dorset, had on them a bilingual inscription in Greek and hieroglyphics. Okay. So y'all see the screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, we got on the Rosetta Stone. Look at this now.
There go that P that don't exist according to Seti.
That's okay. Watch how we do this. This is how Unc do this, right? On the Banks obelisk. Now, y'all can see these two cartouches right here, right? See the signs are similar. At the end, let's read this. It say in the second of these cartouches, the single sign. What's that sign, Joe?
That's a water channel. Stands
What?
for the word. No, I mean, go ahead. It's a word
Okay,
channel.
go ahead. Tell them what it stands for.
Stands for the word mer, which means to be loved. It means to love.
Okay, takes the place of the three signs. What's this?
Marie.
Marie. Okay, at the end of the first cartouche, the cartouche on the bank obelisk, which was thought to contain the Egyptian equivalent of the name Cleopatra, appears in this form. So here we go. The Rosetta Stone and then the bank's obelisk. Look it up. Bankes.
Mm-hmm.
Obelisk. Look that up. Stolen African artifact. As a matter of fact, before I continue, somebody said the Pharaoh says the Rosetta Stone was fake. Go tell him. Go tell him his tennis shoes is fake. Say any damn thing. Let me just say anything. You know what I mean? Say anything. It's fake. So the question would be, why would they fake a Rosetta Stone? What is the conspiracy behind faking an African artifact, which they all admit is one of the most important artifacts in the history of the world? They say this about this, but yet we defile Africa. You feel me? Like they stole that and they got that.
What's fake about it though? I'm trying.
Huh?
But you know why he said it's fake though?
Yeah, because the crazy white guy said it was fake. Let me just keep going, and we'll talk about the white guy to talk about that. Now he'll tell us that name. I think it was man, what's his name, man? He wrote.
We'll come back to it.
Okay. It say in the second of these cartouches. To say I've read that already. Let me move up. Watch this.
Well, the people got to know that those go back down. Okay, people take a mental shot that those two cartouches look exactly alike except for the end. That's
Yep,
it. Everything's the same except for the end.
One on the Rosetta Stone, one on the Bank's obelisk. I read that. Now it's an Egyptian equivalent of the name Cleopatra appears in this form. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now it's putting one above the other. The cartouche believed to contain the names of Ptolemy and Cleopatra on the Bank's obelisk, and numbering the sign produces. Now, A is Ptolemy and B is Cleopatra. You see? Yeah, let's make it bigger. Hold on. Y'all can see that real good?
Yep.
All right. Here go the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They actually numbered it like this now. Let me show y'all how we do this. So they numbered this. Y'all see the numbers. Now watch this. That's on page 17. I'm going to put the PDF in the room. Matter of fact, I should just put the PDF in here real fast and see if I can pull this off for y'all. Hold on.
That's from your computer though.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. You'll be able to get that.
Oh, I can't do that like that then. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna make sure y'all get this. All right. Now let's go to page 18. Now watch this. I'm gonna go back and forth for you. Now it will be seen at once that A1 and B5 are identical. Right? Let's see. A1. There go A1. Y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
A1 and B5 is identical. We agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We agree. That's identical. Identical. And from their position in the names, they must represent the letter P. All right. Watch this. Watch this. All right, look.
Hey, but Seti said P don't exist in Greek.
Yeah, it said he retarded. Look. See the P? See? Ptolemy. Now they say, okay, they know Ptolemy starts with a P. Listen, this is how they did this. They say, man, okay, Ptolemy starts with a P, and Cleopatra, the P, 1, 2, 3, is the fifth letter. See that? Okay, so now just common sense, you say, okay, that's a P. See, that's easy. See, y'all learning right with me. Watch this. Watch this. It say A4 and B2 are also identical. Let's see. A4 and B what?
2.
2. Is that not identical? Yep. Okay. Y'all get ready to do something. Y'all get ready to do something they never could do. Are also identical and from their position must represent the letter L. Well, let's see. Well.
That said he said it was the alpha.
He said he represented the letter what?
He said it was the alpha. He know the language.
Letter L. What let me see? L. Let's see. That's the L in Ptolemy, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. L. Okay. So y'all see how they made the L? Y'all see that, right? Okay. Taking it slow on y'all. Walking y'all, showing y'all the difference between being a damn fool and actually reading some real literature on it. And it's going to show you how you did it.
I think you
did it.
I think you need to say a couple of curse words right now, because
okay, I don't want to put him to sleep. Shit, motherfucker, shit, motherfucker, shit, motherfucker. Since that letter L, bitch. There you go. Now, since L is the second letter in the name Cleopatra, yep, and the sign B1 must represent the letter K, Cleopatra, in Greek. Since the values of the sign B1, 2, and 5 are known in the cartouche of Cleopatra, they can be substituted in the following manner. See, look, the K, the L. See how they put the letter? See how they put that in there?
Plug it in.
Go ahead. You want to say something?
No, I'm saying they plugging in what's known. They doing all the knowns. Then they
plugging in what's known. They say in the Greek form of the name Cleopatra, there are 2 vowels between the letter L, watch this, and P. And in the hieroglyphics form, there are 2 signs. What's the sign?
That's the reed leaf.
Reed leaf and the
lasso.
The lasso. So it may be assumed that the reed leaf equals E and the lasso represents O. Man, in some forms of the cartouche of Cleopatra, B7, see, B7, see that? The hand is replaced by the, what's that, the loaf?
Raised bread loaf, yep.
Raised bread loaf, which is identical
to T.
With A2 and B10, A2 and B10. We gotta go back. Hey, what did it say? A2 and B10.
Bread loaf.
See that? Up. A2, that's a T. See? And 10, that's a T. Y'all see how they filling that in? Man, get the PDF, man.
Easy.
Y'all, I promise you, y'all gonna be past them niggas in 1 second. Y'all, we almost there. It says since T is the second letter in the name Ptolemy and the 7th in the name Cleopatra, it can be assumed that the, what's that again?
The hand.
The hand and the loaf have substantially the same sound, and that the sound is T. In the Greek form of the name Cleopatra, there are 2 A's whose position agrees with B6 and B9. Now I gotta go back. B6.
That's the vulture.
A9.
A B9. Nah, B6 and B9.
My fault. B9. Right there, that's a vulture.
And B6. Both of them are vultures.
And B6. That's right. All right. Hold on. Where I'm at. We close this out for you because I don't want y'all to fall asleep because we born. So it may be assumed that the vulture has a value of A. If these values are substituted for hieroglyphics in B. The result is, look, here you go. See it? Cleopatra. Y'all see that, right? See? There you go. See how they did that? Of the remaining signs, the last two, right, had been interpreted almost correctly by earlier deciphers. So we know Champollion and Thomas Young and them weren't the first, as a feminine termination. Thomas Young, however, more correctly took the group to be the determinative of the names of the goddesses, queens, and princesses. Man, you know what? I ain't gotta keep going. I
Yep.
just want to
You
show
killed
y'all.
it.
Go ahead. You want to say something? You want to say something?
No, I said, hey, that's you're killing it. That's
I just want to show you how I ain't the super damn expert, but I'll be damn if I can't read and got damn good reading comprehension. I mean, come on now, like that wasn't even hard. Do you see how they did that? So it wouldn't matter how white you was, just using your brain as a Homo sapien would put you right there.
Yep.
Think about what I'm saying right now. Do you see the way I just did that? I just clearly showed you how the decipherment process.
Right, and it sounds like that they use methodology, right? That was a type of methodology.
Exactly. People don't understand that decipherment is a process, and it is a process that epigraphers use in epigraphy, which is the study of ancient texts and the decipherment and all that good stuff. It is the scientific method and tools that these people use. So it is very methodical, systematic, and it has its checks and balances just like any other scientific method does. And Seti and Pharaoh never ever once demonstrated that they even understand the process that Champollion and all those guys did in order to refute it. You first have to understand what they did in order to say they did it wrong. And they never demonstrated that. Never ever demonstrated that. They just going off of making up stuff. He don't even think a P is in the Greek language. He didn't even know what a lambda is. He didn't know what a sigma is. Funny looking character.
Cracking
So
joke.
I mean, that's the kind of scholarship that people are encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to stop.
Trickhamship. And so I just watch this. The debate, the divine would have been over with. The fact that I actually demonstrated how they did that, I just demonstrated it. So they would have to demonstrate how what I just did was wrong. They could have never did